Alright, we're trying this again.
Well, what happened was I'm at my labyrinth. My labyrinth. I'm at the labyrinth that I usually go to. Walk and talk. Think. This fucking dude comes. He gets up all open with shit. I fucking hate when people come and disturb me. You don't own the fucking place. I don't give a shit. I saw him too. I think he was sitting in the car, lingering, and just fucking waiting for me, guys. Because I usually do like 4 or 5 laps in that thing. It's fucking dude just fucking standing there. I can't. It's like kissing when somebody's watching. You know what I mean? I can't do this when somebody's watching me. It's like. Yeah, I would replace Bud. I'm fucking bored. Not really. Kind of. Like, I want a pack of cigarettes. I want to go get something to eat. I want to have sex. I haven't had sex. I want people to pay me money. I get money from somewhere. I want institutions to give me money. I want companies to give me money. The more you say I want, the more you're telling the universe you don't have. The more you tell the universe you don't have, the more the universe gives you more of what you don't have. I love that. I love that line of thinking. I mean, it makes sense. The trick is to convince yourself that institutions are giving you money. Institutions are giving you money. Companies are giving you money. Gotta get out of the lack mindset, son. Well, it's true. It's true. It's not untrue. I have a check for $1,100. Well, I mean, before taxes, coming to me from Hugo Boss. That's a company. And I have about 4 years of back taxes from the United States government. So I do have an institution giving me money too. I got like $45 in settled funds on Robinhood. It's another company giving me money. It's just funny. Which is a funny story. Because I sold my holdings. I only had like $50 in holdings on Robinhood. But I sold them because I was running out of money. And what happened was I needed space on my phone. So once once I sold off my holdings and I was waiting for the money to settle in my account, I deleted Robinhood off of my phone so I can put a different, make room. My phone doesn't have too much space on it, so I gotta like shuffle and delete apps and put ones on. It's a pain in the ass. But what happened was, a few days later, once the money was settled in my Robinhood account, I went to put Robinhood back on my phone, and Robinhood was like, all right, we're gonna text you passcode just to make sure it's you. And it just happened to be that was the day that my phone got turned off. So I couldn't get my money. And then just the other day, I went to do my taxes, what taxes I could. Same thing, I went to my ADP app to get my W-2s for this year, or 2022 and 2021. And in order to access them from my phone, ADP has to text me a code. They could email it too, but the email account that is registered to my ADP account is my Hugo Boss email. But 3.5 months ago, I was let go, or my time spent with Hugo Boss had expired, so they removed my email account, so I couldn't get the email. I had to wait for my phone to turn on. Now, in the meantime, over the past 3.5 months, I've been in this back and forth war with Hugo Boss to get money that they were kind of stiffing me on, because I found out I'm doing all this work and they weren't paying me for everything that I was doing. They acknowledge it. It's been acknowledged. It's like, it's done. At this point, it's done. Like, a lawyer got involved. Their lawyer got involved. I didn't get a lawyer. And I told them I wasn't going to get a lawyer. I'm handling this myself. I'm making a big fucking stink out of it because I'm handling it myself. Which led to them bringing on a lawyer. And over the past 2 weeks, he and I have been working together to finalize a settlement agreement. And it's not a lot. It's a lot. For me, it's a lot. I've had, for the past 40 days, today's day 41. For the past 41 days, I have had 27 cents in my bank account. So I don't like, my hair just gets all frizzy too. So for the past fucking 41 days, I've had 27 cents in my bank account. But I see it as a challenge, as an opportunity to do something that I can't imagine that many people would typically have the opportunity to do, which is to fast from money. I literally did, and I missed Lent. I missed Lent this year But consider this a belated Lent. What did you give up for Lent? Money. How the fuck did you do that? Well, I live with my mom. And I am blessed with a mom that takes care of me when I need it. So I'm really grateful for it. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Mommy. Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Mom. Which pisses people off. I've lived here for almost 5 years. I've lived here for almost 5 years. In October. I used to have a house. I used to have a career. I used to be a regular person with a regular job. It wasn't even a regular job. This is probably like one of the most irregular jobs. I worked in the graphic industry. Wasn't a designer. If you say the graphic industry, people automatically assume that you were a designer. No, I pushed buttons and I pointed fingers. As in, I printed things on a big printer. I had to push buttons to make it print. I had to point fingers at guys. Be like, this is what you're doing today. How you doing? Yeah, it was a managerial job. I started off at the very bottom. I was in the industry for about 12 years. I don't understand why you don't just go back to that. Because I'm done with it. Same reason I don't go back to doing tile. I did tile with my father for 5 years. I worked in the graphic industry for 12 years. I got the experience I was looking for. I got the experience I needed. I worked in radio for 2 years. Technically I was an intern, but it still worked. And I had a on-air shift. I had an overnight shift on the weekends. You talked on the radio? Yep. It was cool. It was really cool. It's like 21 at the time. I worked in retail for a little bit. I worked in a cosmetology retail store. And I worked in Hugo Boss for 18 months. I got a wide array of business experience. Not to mention the fact that I own my own company. What do you guys do? At the moment, our big seller is personal empowerment coaching. What is it that you love? What is it that you dream to be? Go do it. Go do the things. What do you got to do to get it done? What do you need? A little fucking pat on the back once in a while? You don't have enough people patting you on the back to encourage you? Keep doing what you're doing? Here. You're doing a fucking great job. Just keep doing it. So what we do is So what I do is I do this. I do a little bit of this. I do a little bit of writing on my Facebook page. I used to be on Twitter a lot more, but I got kicked off there because I was testing boundaries. Also in research and development, metaphysical studies, so astrology, tarot, oracle, divination, theurgy, magic, witchcraft, personal development. student of life. What's the goals and aspirations? Build a fucking empire. A literal empire that supersedes all other empires in the world and absorbs them. I'm building the foundation of a one world order. What's something that you want to do before you die? What's something that you wish you would have done before you died? Create a one world order with myself at the top. It's a little ambitious, don't you think? Absolutely, it fucking is. It's not supposed to be easy. Not many people, not everybody desires to go to their deathbed satisfied with taking the easy route. There are some of us who like to play the game on ultra nightmare difficulty with permadeath. Or some of us want to play the game as fucking hard as humanly possible and to go for the most impossible thing that one could possibly do. Because why the fuck not? What the fuck else are you gonna go do? I've been at this life long enough to see that no matter what you do, no matter who you're doing it for, you're doing something for somebody else, you're not doing something for yourself. As long as I'm doing something for somebody else, I'm not doing something for myself. I mean, not without having to manipulate myself into seeing things a certain way, you know what I mean? It's like, it's not worth it unless you can convince yourself that it is.
Everyone says two. Everyone's like two, you know.
It's kind of like my saying, my best days are disguised as my worst days. Take any one of my worst fucking days, I can turn it into something good. I can look at it and find something good to take from it and be like, this is the best day ever. There's gonna come a point in time where I look back on this moment right this second and I am fucking jacked the fuck up, super satisfied that everything happened exactly the way that it did from between now and then. And it'll make perfect sense why it had to be that way too. Throughout our lives, we encounter an endless amount of unrecognized synchronistic events that guide us, that point the way, and go, hey, look at me over here. I'm trying to show you something. And either you look at it or you don't. And if you do look at it, you either go, nah, that was just a coincidence, that doesn't mean shit. Just keep about your business. And it's alright, you don't have to follow it, but what happens when you do? Good question. So that's what I've been doing for the past 5 years, is going, alright, what happens when we let intuition take the wheel? What happens when we start to acknowledge those synchronistic events? What happens if we drive down this dark road with the headlights off? What happens? Well, I'll tell you what happens. Some really fucking amazing shit. Some really cool shit too. Well, it's important to write. You make notes and journal. I just finished reading Genesis. It's the first of the 5 books of Moses that make up the Torah. I finished book 1 today. It's a couple hours, like an hour or two ago. 2 hours, 3 hours. And it ends with Joseph dying. Favorite son, Jacob. And if you're not familiar with the story, it's pretty fucking cool. It's a really fantastic story. How things just happen to fall into place as perfectly as they do. It's almost unbelievable. But if you're familiar with synchronicity, if you're familiar with the way that synchronicity works, if you have done what I have done and allowed synchronicity and intuition to guide your life and document it too, so that you can go back and retrace your own steps, so that you know for a fact that you're not just fucking making shit up. When you do that and you read a story like that, whoa, holy shit, yeah, that happened. I know exactly what the fuck happened there. Because the cool thing about Genesis is it's like one long story. It's not broken up how I thought it was. I thought it was just like separate stories and lessons and kind of bits and pieces thrown together to make one complete thing. I never even read the fucking thing. It's something I always wanted to do, though. Because it's one thing when, realistically, it's one thing to shit on it. There's another thing to actually go through it and see what the fuck it's talking about. And what it's talking about is this very specific bloodline. It's the origin story of a very specific bloodline of people. And either you get it. If you get it, you get it. If you don't, then you don't. A lot of people don't get it. And I think I know why. Because I don't think they're supposed to. Because if you don't know how to recognize the signs and the synchronicities in your own life, then you're not going to be able to see the signs and synchronicities that are taking place in that first book. Because yeah, there's lessons to be learned. The major lesson of Genesis is trust. No matter how bad your situation, is, it's going exactly the way that's supposed to go. It's not. You're not doing anything wrong. Even when you think people fuck you over, that's another one. Your life's only as fucked up as you want to believe it is. Even all the times that people fucked you over, they only fucked you over because you think they did. Even if that was their intention. Even if they literally were like, I'm gonna fuck this motherfucker over today. And they pull it off, they didn't even fuck you over. They succeeded at playing themselves, because there's gonna come a point in the future where you look back on that time that you got fucked over and realize, oh shit, that was exactly what I needed. Exactly when I needed it. And that's the story of Genesis. Everybody's fucking over somebody. Everybody's either getting fucked over or they're fucking someone over. But by doing so, what they're doing at the exact same time is setting the stage for future events to work out perfectly. The only reason the tribes of Israel made it to Egypt in the first place was because of people fucking each other over. Deceit, lies. People taking advantage of people. Oh, it's beautiful. It's a typical human story. So, and it's not. There's no happy ending to it. Everybody's fucked because everyone's an asshole. Even at the end, right as Jacob is dying, and he's like, all right, my boys. And he calls over his 12 sons. He's like, I'm gonna tell you the future, and he just pretty much breaks down that they're all assholes for the most part, and they're all pieces of shit. Not all of them, but there's some pieces of shit in there. There's some jerk offs in there. Some of them are gonna die. Not a happy ending. But at the same time, like, no matter how bad it gets bad for some motherfuckers. It gets fucking terrible. Say what?
Got any hard?
Nah. I don't know what you said. But I kind of took it as one of those things. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, so the answer must be no. Even fucking Joseph, the one brother who got fucked over out of the 12. He got fucked over worse than all the other ones. Well, the other ones fucked him over. They fucking threw him in a pit and then sold him to slavers, who brought him to Egypt, and then he eventually he was gifted with second sight. He was gifted with this sight, and he gave them a premonition. And they didn't like what he said. What he said was, one day you guys are gonna bow down to me. The fuck? The fuck we are. How about this? We're gonna throw your ass in a pit and sell you off to slavers. After we beat the shit out of you. But while he was in jail, he was in Egypt. He was a slave. Then he got falsely accused of attempting to rape his master's wife. Thrown into jail. Forgotten. And then eventually, just a sequence of events played themselves out where his gift for divination came in handy for the Pharaoh of all people. And what he said was so profound to the Pharaoh that the Pharaoh was like, alright, I'm gonna give you a job. I'm gonna let you run Egypt. And when the famine finally came, all of Joseph's brothers, they had to come to him. They didn't know it was him. They had to come to him, kiss his ass. Please, sir, can you give us some grain? Give us some bread, please. We're your servants. We bow to you. He didn't take advantage. He played them a little bit, but not in a bad way. It's gonna fucking rain. But that's kind of the point of the story. It's like, and I've been witness to this in my own life more than enough times to know that I know what I'm fucking talking about. It's like, it's always when things seem like they're at their worst that something happens that kind of clicks over. And all that, like, that struggle, all that hard work, all that struggle, all the hardship, makes sense. Makes perfect sense, because it's like, oh shit, I needed that to happen. I need that to happen so I can get to this point. A big part of my life involves magic. Brujeria. It's funny when I say it with an accent. Brujeria. Brujo. part of what I've learned from that practice isn't so much making reality what I want it to be, so to speak. It's seeing reality in a different way that allows me to recognize that even the worst shit is exactly what I needed it to be. So I can do where I'm at. Fuck it. See, can we make it back before the fucking sky fucking cracks open? I bet you that we'll get back. It'll start to rain in the house until or maybe as soon as I get onto the porch. I don't know, it's kind of risky. Yeah, but that's my biggest takeaway from Genesis. Is that as long as if you can follow the sequence of events that led up to right this moment, you'll see is a narrative that's playing out. Now I have over 120 books following my narrative. I keep track of them in a very sophisticated way. Seemingly sophisticated. I think it's sophisticated. Each book is titled. Each one is separated by day. So, the book we're currently working on, the title is Python Script. One period space print lowercase p parenthesis quotation. Hello world. I'm toxic. End quote. End parenthesis. I'm learning Python script, how to write Python language. I think it helps in Parseltongue, but it's a whole other fucking thing. Parseltongue. Someone versed in language of snakes. Just snakes, reptiles. So the way it works, it's broken down by day. So I've been working on this book for a few weeks now, maybe almost a month. So every day gets a new entry. And then as I add entries to that day, I put the time, I put the secular time followed by the planetary hour that's associated with that time, as well as the Hebrew hour. At the very top of the page, at the top of the first page of the day, we have the astrological archdemon, followed by the Kabbalistic archangel associated with the astrological month, followed by the astrological month, which includes the degree of which the sun is in that sign, in that month. Western astrology I'm using. Underneath that, what time sunrise, time for sunset, followed by the date. Then I put the day, the actual day. Today's Monday, so Monday. Underneath Monday, put the astrological symbol glyph for the planet associated with the day. 7 days of the week associated with the 7 planets of astrology. Then I write the name. Then I also write the name of the angel, the archangel who's associated with that day. The Hebrew archangel that's associated with the particular planet and day. Then I write the phase of the moon. There's 4 main phases that I follow. You got the new moon, first quarter moon, full moon, third quarter moon. Then you have the waxing crescent, waxing gibbous, waning crescent. So right now, there's usually about anywhere from 5 to 8 days between any of those main phases, those major phases. So, today, for instance, 6 out of 6, 6-6, waning gibbous, which means tomorrow there's going to be a third quarter. The moon's going to be in its third quarter phase in the sign of Taurus. Today's day 6 of 6 of the waxing gibbous phase. Tomorrow, it's going to say first quarter. Or I'm sorry, third quarter moon, Taurus. Following day, on Wednesday, it's going to be 1-6 or 7. The new moon's on the 15th. What's tomorrow, the 8th? So 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So 7 days. 6 days, actually. So tomorrow's going to be, or Wednesday's going to be 1 of 6, waning crescent. Thursday's going to be 2 of 6, waning crescent. Friday, 3 of 6, waning crescent. Until we make it to the 15th, and then it's going to be Friday. Or that's going to be the new moon. Leo. Because I do things the way that I do, I have formulated a method of tracking the moon cycles. Monthly moon cycles, quarterly moon cycles, half-year moon cycles, and yearly moon cycles. Over the course of one lunar year, the moon has one complete cycle per sign, so 12 full cycles. They happen at very specific intervals, usually within 11-week intervals. So tomorrow, it's going to be the third quarter moon in Taurus. 11 weeks ago was the new moon in Taurus. 11 weeks before that was the first quarter moon in Taurus. 11 weeks before that was a new moon in Taurus. Sorry, full moon. Alright. Last week was a full moon in Aquarius. 11 weeks before that was the first quarter moon in Aquarius. 11 weeks before that was the Lunar New Year, the new moon in Aquarius. 11 weeks from last week's full moon, there's going to be a third quarter moon in Aquarius. And when I say week, I don't mean like a 7-day week. I'm talking about lunar weeks. So lunar week is the days between full moon, quarter moon, new moon, quarter moon, full moon, quarter moon. And those range, like I said, from between 5 and 8 days. It feels like a lot of math, and it is, to keep track of all this stuff. But because of the way that I had been keeping track of my journals, a lot of these cycles, a lot of these patterns just kind of presented themselves to me over time. Where it was like, you do something over and over again enough times, eventually it's like, oh shit, I didn't notice that before. I didn't notice that. It's approximately 11 lunar weeks in between those cycles. So what happens is, over the course of one lunar year, a lunar year is 44 weeks. 44 lunar weeks. Like I said, every 11 weeks, the moon is in one of its cardinal phases. Cardinal phase, full moon, quarter moon, new moon. Every 11 weeks, the moon is going to be in one of those cardinal phases in the same sign, which is pretty fascinating. They don't tell you that stuff. Like you don't know that. I mean, you have to use an astrology chart to recognize it, but astrology, nobody really knows about the stuff. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about anything else. Don't worry about all the other planets and stuff. Because if you try to focus on that, you're gonna miss the bigger point, the bigger picture. You got all the other stuff. You got the stars. You got the. Another thing to keep in mind is Western astrology, tropical astrology, the same thing. It's based on the seasons. It's not based on the stars. Well, it's based on the placement of the stars 4,000 years ago, but we're a little bit past that. And unless you understand the concept of precessional slippage, it doesn't even fucking matter. Precessional slippage. About every 2,000 years, the constellation behind the sun at the time of the spring equinox shifts. It takes about 2,000 years for that to take place. So kind of like the Bronze Age, Silver Age, Golden Age, Dark Ages, every sign has an age as well. Like right now we're coming out of the end. We're at the very end of the age of Pisces and the very beginning of the age of Aquarius. This is an actual thing. But that's where you need sidereal astrology, which is based on the placement of the stars in the sky. Roughly. Close. I don't predict fortunes or any kind of shit like that. I like to observe, to see where everything is, what's going on at that time, and to see how it relates. Now my big project is not so much worrying about all the other planets. My big one is just, let's start off simple. Let's tackle this one piece at a time. We'll start with the sun and the moon. Because those two are the most easily observable. So because they're the most easily observable, we can then kind of correspond the things going on in life to the position of the sun and the moon as they orbit the Earth. As the sun and the moon go around the Earth. I didn't say the Earth was flat. I said when the sun and the moon go around the Earth. Because the sun orbits the Earth. The sun, moon, and stars, they orbit me. They rotate around me. Hey, you don't have to believe me, but lightning. Oh, it's fucking dark, dude. The drop. But what? So a project that I do, now something that I've noticed, another trend, another cycle pattern that I noticed is that by tracking the 11-week lunar cycles, every 11 weeks, for instance, every 11 weeks the moon's going to be full, new, or quarter in the sign of Aquarius, right? But as you progress over the course of a year, they show up backwards. So lunar phases: new moon, first quarter moon, full moon, third quarter moon, new moon, first quarter moon, full moon, third quarter moon, new moon, and then it just repeats itself. But when you track the lunar cycles over the course of a year in a particular sign, over these 11-week periods, it actually goes new moon, third quarter moon, full moon, first quarter moon, new moon. So it goes backwards, almost like a retrograde. So now what I do, this project that I'm working on with my journals, it's something that I started in the beginning of March. I'm halfway done. It's not easy because I have to go through 5 years worth of journals. Usually about 20 different entries. So what I do is I take, say, Aquarius, or even Leo, and I get every single journal from 2018 to 2023 where there was a new quarter or full moon in the sign of Leo. Line them all from newest to oldest, and then I read only those entries backwards. And what I mean is, from I read them backwards. Sometimes they're long, but I read them from like the beginning of the day to the end of the day. It's just the pattern that I follow would be new moon, first quarter moon, full moon, third quarter moon. I follow it around like that, but that's actually going backwards in time, if you're following me. So it would be like, for instance, and mind you, these are 11-week cycles, so it's almost 3 months in between. It's about 3 months between entry. But just for the sake of like explaining, let's just say this week I decided to read this week's entries. Today, what's today? Monday, then Sunday, then Tuesday, then Wednesday, then last Thursday, then last Friday, then last Wednesday, last Tuesday. Oh shit! All right, 4 houses down. Right. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's close. So I read them backwards. I look for trends and patterns and cycles and anything that links those experiences, those entries together to see how my life played out when looked at from that perspective. It's fucking fascinating. I made it through 6 so far. I got another 6 to go. But after doing the first one, I realized this is something I need to complete. Yeah, that's where we're at. And perfect time. Back at the house. Just enough time to turn this off. Get dry.